Section 4. Tunisia Revolution Case Study. In Tunisia, act of one fruit vendor unleashes wave of revolution through Arab world. On the evening before Mohammed Bouazizi lit a fire that would burn across the Arab world, the young fruit vendor told his mother that the oranges, dates, and apples he had to sell were the best he'd ever seen. With this fruit, he said, I can buy some gifts for you. Tomorrow will be a good day. For years, Bouazizi had told his mother stories of corruption at the fruit market, where vendors gathered under a cluster of ficus trees on the main street of his scruffy town, not far from Tunisia's Mediterranean beaches. Arrogant police officers treated the market as their personal picnic grounds, taking bagfuls of fruit without so much as a nod toward payment. The cops took visible pleasure in subjecting the vendors to one indignity after another, fining them, confiscating their scales, even ordering them to carry their stolen fruit to the cops' cars. Before dawn on Friday, December 17th, as Bouazizi pulled his cart along the narrow, rutted stone road toward the market, two police officers blocked his path and tried to take his fruit. Bouazizi's uncle rushed to help his 26-year-old nephew, persuading the officers to let the rugged-looking young man complete his 1-mile trek. The uncle visited the chief of police and asked him for help. The chief called in a policewoman who had stopped Bouazizi, Frida Hamadi, and told her to let the boy work. Hamdi, outraged by the appeal to her boss, returned to the market. She took a basket of Bouazizi's apples and put it in her car. Then she started loading a second basket. This time, according to Aladdin Badri, who worked the next cart over, Bouazizi tried to block the officer. She pushed Muhammad and hit him with her baton, Badri said. Hamadi reached for Bouazizi's scale, and again he tried to stop her. Hamadi and two other officers pushed Bouazizi to the ground and grabbed the scale. Then she slapped Bouazizi in the face in front of about 50 witnesses. Bouazizi wept with shame. Why are you doing this to me? He cried, according to the vendors and customers who was there. I'm a simple person. I just want to work. Revolutions are explosions of frustration and rage that build over time, sometimes over decades. Although their political roots are deep, it is often a single spark that ignites them, an assassination, perhaps, or one selfless act of defiance. After the slap, Bouazizi went to City Hall and demanded to see an official. No, a clerk replied, go home. Forget about it. Bouazizi returned to the market and told his fellow vendors he would let the world know how unfairly they were being treated, how corrupt the system was. He would set himself ablaze. We thought he was just talking, said Hassan Tili, another worker. A short while later, the vendors heard shouts from a couple of blocks away. Without another word to anyone, Bouazizi had positioned himself in front of the municipal building, poured paint thinner over his body, and lit himself aflame. The fire burned and burned. People ran inside and grabbed a fire extinguisher, but it was empty. They called for police, but no one came. Only an hour and a half after Bouazizi lit the match did an ambulance arrive. Manabuya Bouazizi and her son's decision was spontaneous from the humiliation. Her clear blue eyes welled as her husband placed at her feet a small clay pot filled with a few white-hot pieces of charcoal, their only defense against a cold, raw, rain-swept day. The Bouazizi family had no money, no car, no electricity, but it was not poverty that made her son sacrifice himself, she said. It was his quest for dignity. Ben Ali visited Mohammed Bouazizi in the hospital, along with a camera crew. The president made a show of handing Manabaya a check for 10,000 dinars, about $14,000. But the mother said Ben Ali's staffers took the check back after the cameramen were escorted from the town. I never got any of it, she said. 3 weeks after he set himself on fire, Bouazizi died in the burn unit. In early January, the policewoman was arrested, but it was too late. The story had spread, and 3 months later, a revolution that sprouted in a small village in Tunisia and flowered in Egypt has morphed into a contagion that threatens regimes in Bahrain, Yemen, and enveloped Libya in a civil war, and is unsettling even the region's more placid monarchies, such as Saudi Arabia and Jordan. Slim Amiyu, a blogger in Tunisia, got a call from his friend. I've got some hot video, the friend said. On the day after the burning, one of Bouzizi's cousins had used his cell phone to record the small crowd gathered in front of Sidi Bouzid City Hall to protest how the vendors had been treated. The cousin posted the video online, and Amaru saw it, the 33-year-old computer whiz, who had been blogging about the Ben Ali regime for 4 years, had to get the word out. YouTube was a non-starter. Ben Ali's censors kept close watch on the site, but Facebook's growth had been so sudden that the censors had not yet placed any restrictions on it. Tunisia has the highest rate of internet use of any Arab country. Amamu posted the video on Facebook, and in a daisy chain of sharing, the images flashed into homes, offices, and internet cafes. Within 2 days, first in towns near Sidi Bouzid, protesters took to the streets to shout for fairness, jobs, and the prosecution of corrupt officers. On the first evening after the video hit Facebook, Al Jazeera, the Qatar-based cable channel that is viewed widely throughout the Arab world, picked up the clip and broadcast it repeatedly. Tunisia's state-controlled TV did not mention the incident for 12 days. In the winding, narrow cobblestone alleys of the Kasbah, the medieval bazaar in the center of Tunis, acrid tear gas filled the air. Shopkeepers armed with broomsticks guarded their wares. On the radio, DJs played Tracy Chapman's 1988 hit Talking About a Revolution over and over, and young activists squatting in tents on the main square sang along. Finally, the tables are starting to turn. Bouzizi died January 4th. Word went out on Facebook to take to the streets. The message was received on January 14th. Tens of thousands brought the nation's capital, Tunis, to a halt. Now the world started paying attention. How a slap sparked Tunisia's revolution. Degage, get out, they shouted at Ben Ali. Zied Mirsi was there. Oh, it was fantastic to be there on that day. There was everybody, young, poor, rich, educated, women, men. Every part of Tunisian society was represented in that demonstration that asked Ben Ali to get out, he remembered. The protesters thought it was entirely possible that Ben Ali would order the army to fire on them, but they didn't budge. To their astonishment, it was Ben Ali who panicked. He fled the country and went to Saudi Arabia. I think, like the majority of the Tunisian people, we were in disbelief. We were like, he's gone. It was just crazy. He left in his plane and he's gone. Took us some time to realize it, I think. So yeah, we were free then, Mirsi said. It was the first time an Arab dictator had been toppled by his own people.